database hybrid class 1. This class, we will just recollect the basic database users and administrator function, basic database and administrator. So this aspect, we will be taking up the first way of representing how a database management can be communicated towards end users. For that, we say this architectural diagram as database users and administrators. So we have a important concept called as levels of abstraction. Levels of abstraction. So in this levels of abstraction, we had an exposure towards one, we call it as higher level, which we call it as some end user. Second one, we were talking about the middle level. That is what we call it as some conceptual level. And third one was the low level, or we are going to call it as the physical level. So the earlier discussion what we have taken up was the levels of abstraction taken up will be having the end users at one end, the conceptual level at another end, and the physical level at another end. So the database users and administrators do follow the same architecture. The database levels, users and administrators, they follow the same level. That means we have the database administrator, we have the server developer, and we have the end user. They are going to communicate with the higher level of users. They are going to communicate with the higher level, and that is the area or that is the zone where people can talk to the DBMS, people can interact with the DBMS service so that they get the core functionalities of a database system. So that is regarding the higher level. Now we were mentioning the users are of three categories. One, we call it as the database administrator. Two, we call it as the server developer. Three, we call it as the end user. When we are going to call it as a database administrator, the person who is going to manage the database, the person who is going to give you the rights, who is going to give you the access privileges to access the database, all that they are going to be taken up with the administrative activity called as a database administrators. Once the architecture diagram is finished, we can discuss in detail about 8 to 10 key roles what the database administrator is going to play. Next one, we have a lot of vendors for database. One, it can be SQL, 2, MySQL, 3, SQL Server, 4, MS Access. In this way, DB2, there are a lot of vendors who are going to provide the database services. So these people who have developed the database, those we call it as the developers. So they are the pure people who have created the database so that the end users or the novice users, they can use the database. How they are going to use the database? They are going to use one with data control language, two with data manipulation language, 3 with data control language, and 4 with data transaction language. So using the commands in DDL, DML, DCL, and DTL, people are going to do the operations in a database. So you are ready with the commands, but where to execute those commands? Who is going to provide you the commands? That is where this developer is going to provide, where you are going to execute the commands. That commands we are going to call it as user interface. So a user interface is the application where people can type the create command, update command, drop command, alter command, insert command, delete command, commit command, rollback command. So these are the different types of commands available as a part of DCL, DTL, DCL in SQL. So those commands has to be typed. For that you need some area, and that area we are going to call it as an application interface where people can develop these programs as part of the application programs. Next. We are aware that Android mobile phone is there. Every year they come with version 1, version 2, version 3. So in this way. Similarly, Windows operating system is going to be there. Again, we can say it is Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8, 10 like that. Versions are going to be upgraded. Similarly, there are some computer aided software engineering tools where the server developers, they are going to give the updates to the database. They are purely in control of the developer. They are purely in control of the persons who are creating the database. The people who have created the database, they do updates daily. They maintain the software daily. For that, they are going to use computer aided software engineering tools. So using the computer aided software engineering tools, the software developers, they are going to put some upgradations towards the content. Now, next comes the role which is going to be played up at the middle level, that is the conceptual level. In this conceptual level, we do have a repository, and this repository is purely maintaining the database operations. One in form of metadata, another we are going to call it as some data dictionary. The other one was towards data schema. The other one was towards data schema. Let us discuss the details. I have table 1 and I have table 2. Now, what are the attributes in the table? What are the columns in the table? They have to be revealed. That means I need to know the structure of a table where the schema is going to be taken up. Second one, in some part of a memory location in a database, table is there, in another part, another table is there. Now I need to mingle up the functionalities between table 1 and table 2. Now I should tell at what location table is there, which location the database is available. So we are going to call that one as data about data, or we are going to call this one as data dictionary, or we are going to call it as index. So, for an example, I can say second CSC B, it is available in 102. Second CSC A, it is available in 101. Second CSC C, 103. Now, if I am assuming the classroom as a database, now the metadata is at an reception or at an entrance, and it will tell, where do you want? I want to go to second CSCB. Okay, visit 102. In this way, it is going to give you a pointer. That pointer, we are going to call it as a metadata, or we are going to call it as an index. So that it is going to be maintained in a repository. That it is going to be maintained in a repository. So next comes the core element called as database management system. So in this database management system, it is going to provide all information towards management of data, retrieval of data, storage of data. So every possible item is going to be in this database management. It is going to support some normalization, and it is going to provide some key constraints, etc. It is going to provide some key constraints, etc. So normalization, before we dig deep into a normalization, first we should understand what is key constraint. So we had familiarity with few terms regarding the key constraint. One, we call it as primary key. Two, we call it as foreign key or a reference key. Three, we call it as candidate key. And fourth, we call it as super key. And these biases are going to be with not null and unique. Null, of course, it is going to accept the empty values, but they are going to be taken up from not null and they are going to be from unique. You do not want the column to be empty. So for that case, we are going to aspect the key constraint in this. Now applying the key constraints to our different tables, we say it is going to be part of the normalization process, which we call it as first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, boycott normal form, fifth normal form, and sixth normal form. So all these aspects we are going to say it is a normalization aspect. So as part of databases, it is going to be relations, it is going to be relations, and these relations, they are going to be maintained in form of tables. These relations are going to be maintained in form of tables, and the tables, they are going to be organized in form of rows or in form of columns. Rows, we are going to call it as some tuples, and columns, we are going to call them as some attributes. So the holistic architecture of a database user and an administrator, it revolves about the repository, and this repository is a vast collection of databases. Repository is a vast collection of databases. So assume that the classrooms, what we are going to assume, that is classroom 1, 2, 3, each one is a database. Now this entire block, I can say it as a repository. So D block repository, C block repository, B block repository, A block repository. Now if I am putting all this over single database, a huge and vast database, then it is going to become a data warehouse. Okay, so in this way we have to look into the granularity of a data. That is, one, we say it is data. Two, we are going to call it as a database. Three, we are going to call it as a data repositories or data marts. Fourth, we are going to call it as the item called as data warehouse. Fifth, we are going to call it as a big data, and followed by a cloud. So this was the hierarchy what we should. One, we call it as data, and second one, we call it as some database. Third, we have to assume the next type of granularity. It goes with data repository, or we can call it as data mart. Next, we can call it as data warehouse, followed by big data, and finally it can be extended over terabits, gigabits, petabits of cloud storage, etc. So when there was a data, no meaningful insight is going to come. This meaningful data, the data should be meaningful so that some insights should be taken up. For that, we are going to take the database management system, where it is going to see that the databases are going to be stored in a relational database in rows and columns so that information can be captured. So that information can be captured and useful insight can happen. Third thing, we do have data repository, or we are going to call it as data mart. There is no big difference between repository and database. If it is less capacity, then we are going to call it as database. It is huge capacity, then we are going to call it as repository. As simple as that. In a mobile phone, you have 4 GB storage or 8 GB storage or 32-bit storage. Now, if I purchase a laptop or a desktop, then it is going to be 500 GB of storage or 1 terabyte storage. If you are purchasing some server system, then it is going to have 100 terabytes, petabytes. In this way, storage space is more. The same concept we are going to interpret here. We are working on small set of data, then we are going to assume it as a database. We are working on large set of data, then we are going to assume it as a repository. But in a repository, there are some additional concepts. What are those additional concepts? One, it is going to be calling it as metadata, or it is going to be data about data, a data dictionary, and the scheme of data. So the scheme of data or a data dictionary, what it is going to interpret? It is going to interpret what was the column name, what was the data type, what is name, student name. What data set should I give? Whether it is an integer, whether it is a numeric, whether it is a character. Next, I want to have a field called of date of birth. Can date of birth be number? Can date of birth be character? Can date of birth can be a date data type? You are fixing those contents. So having such information, we are going to call that word as data about data, that is metadata built with data dictionary. So with that, we are going to build up the database schema, how database is going to be organized and how database is logically connected between first table and second table. So you have an employee table and you have a student table. Now you make some relationship between faculty table and a student table. If such is the case, then we need to understand the schema using which key we can merge, we can connect and establish a relationship between first table and another table you want to know. So such a type of logical derivations, they are going to be part of this data schema operation. So, I just stop my class here.